Hello, everyone. Welcome to Steve Rosenfield's stand-up comedy workshop show. And I'm removing further schmear from my camera. A little bit better. Hi. Welcome to this awesome lineup of comedians who are going to be performing from all across the country. They have all participated in the American Comedy Institute's online workshop with Steve Rosenfield. He's an award-winning comedy director, author of the book Mastering Stand-Up, and the founder of ACI, the American Comedy Institute. We have workshops every month, and be sure to follow us on YouTube, on all of our social media at ACI Comedy, because there are many exciting things to come, including our live shows at Gotham. But you have tuned in for the online edition, and you're in for a treat. Our comics, some are making their stand-up comedy debut. They are from all different time zones, all across the country, but we've all come together. And some of our alumni have performed on The Tonight Show, The Late Show, Conan, Saturday Night Live, Gotham Comedy Live, and they perform in comedy clubs all over New York City, all over the country, and all over the world. So who knows, some of the people you see tonight, they're going to be big. But we're all love doing stand-up comedy, and I'm going to be your host tonight. My name's Michaela. I'm super excited to be here. I am in New York City, actually. And I feel really good because I just had some spaghetti and meatballs. So I'm powered up as an Italian. I've recharged my battery. I am Italian, but it was never, I'm not going to do 23andMe because whatever number it comes up with, I'm going to be disappointed because it's not 100%. I grew up thinking I was way more Italian than I actually am, probably because my dad always taught me that meatball subs regulate your digestive system. This is what he believed. This was his mentality. It's true. I really did think we were super hardcore Italian. I thought we were in the mob and Melanoma was this guy in Sicily who kept trying to kill my uncles. He succeeded a couple times, but turns out it's just a disease. Oh, I love being Italian. More than that, though, I love living in New York City. I love it so much. I took a test about it and became a tour guide of New York. Thank you. I have some claps here in the Zoom room. I appreciate it. There are two very distinct groups of tour guides. You're either going to get an older, very sophisticated, intelligent gay man, probably a college professor, or you will be led around the city by my favorite type of person, a city witch. They're dolls. They walk around the city. They walk 40,000 steps a day, but when they sit down, there is nothing that can get them up out of that chair. Nothing. None of their beverages are in their original containers. They wear something with sparkles that you've never seen have sparkles on it before. Definitely a lot of page boy hats with sequins. You've seen these women. I'm working hard to try and explain them. But one thing I do know is that they are all stooped over a cauldron in their apartment with some hot deli cup of coffee mixed with a feather from the meanest pigeon on their block. And poof! A 1,000-year lease in Greenwich Village for $28 a month. That's how they do it. I know it. They give great tours, though. They have very specific facts, mostly personal to them, and mostly about Rudy Giuliani. Great ladies, wonderful people. Yeah, my tours are a little bit different. I tend to get very distracted because my favorite store in New York City is the side of the street. You'd be amazed at what people throw away, okay? But I'm a little fearful that I'm becoming like a full Grey Gardens lady. I think I'm one bad event and one magazine subscription away from being a full-blown hoarder. I have a slight problem. I just have so many colanders, I see something. If it's clean, I'm gonna pick it up. And now I can strain practically anything at all. That was my impression of Grey Gardens. It was okay. It was okay. I have a little bit of anxiety. I think it's something many comedians have, but I think I found a way to fully conquer it. And it does involve singing in the shower. I'll explain. When I'm having pretty bad thoughts, if I'm taking a shower, I'll just get them out like I'm doing a concert for my roommates. I like to go, all right, this one's gonna go out to all the beautiful people who died in this apartment before I moved in. I don't want to close both eyes, even when I wash my face, 'cause I'm scared of you, and I know you're gonna murder me. I get incredibly scared of the ghosts in my shower. Or when I shave my legs, I'm like, don't cut yourself intentionally. It's only okay accidentally. You took an ibuprofen and the water is hot, but that doesn't mean your blood won't clot. You've never had problems with clotting. That I'll talk to my therapist about that one. I don't have any problems with clotting. Or at the end of the shower, we all know this one when you go, the hair that fell out is a normal amount of hair. Hey, this is a normal amount of hair. You don't have alopecia. You don't have lupus. You've never had chemo because you don't have cancer. Oh my God. Yes, you do. There's really no way to know if you don't. And then I turn the shower to ice cold and just try and get it together. But that's how I overcome my anxiety. And that's going to be my set for this evening. I'm so excited to bring up your comics to the screen. Your first comic, he performs all the way from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, but you can see him pretty much all over the country. He's a great friend, wonderful comic. Please give it up for the great Jay Yoder.
Oh, thank you, Michaela. I'm so happy to be here, guys. I'm just taking a break. I've been a public school teacher for 18 years, guys, and last couple of years I've been killing it. By it, I mean my soul. And the mute button on Zoom. Yeah, I've been teaching at a middle school. Do y'all remember what middle school smells like? Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. In the morning, it's like Macy's with my grandma. Right, we got Axe body spray over here, Bath and Body Works over there. And then about 1:13 p.m., the hormones settle and they turn into the onions from an Italian hoagie. I am going to miss the mask mandates, guys. I mean, I used to double mask in the afternoons. Now, here's the thing about middle schoolers and really any age level. These kids are honest. That's one thing I can say about them. I saw a kid in the hall the other day. He looked me up and down. He's like, Mr. Yoder, you look like the kind of guy that keeps cold cuts in his car. I think it was a compliment. Like, I'm likable, I'm lovable. Guys, I'm Lunchable. I don't know if you've seen Lunchables, but they've evolved. Yeah. And in all honesty, guys, I mean, I put on some of the pandemic pounds. I don't know about you guys, but put on the pandemic pounds, but I've made a decision. I'm going to keep it on as a souvenir. Never forget. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but we in my house stopped cooking. My wife and I are both teachers. We're teaching our kids. We're teaching everybody else's kids. I mean, thank God for DoorDash. Yeah, in my house, those were the first responders. Yeah, everybody was out here banging pots and pans for nurses. Nope, I was in my driveway with a fork and a plate looking for Bryce in a white Honda Civic. It's tough. I mean, my problem is I lack commitment. Like the fridge is closed. You're looking at Tony Robbins. The minute it opens, I'm Baskin Robbins. I love all 31 flavors, guys. And that little pink spoon. Did you know you can eat that little pink spoon? I mean, you shouldn't. I'm just saying it's possible. Yeah, no, it's tough. I mean, I love teaching. The kids are honest, but I just hate when the kids do something stupid and I have to go to a meeting. Like last week, we had THC training. You know what that's code word for? Pot. Yeah. And these kids, they're not just rolling doobies. I mean, there's vapes, there's edibles, there's tinctures. Did everybody have to be at the meeting? Mrs. Jenkins, our 70-year-old librarian. Yeah, she now knows what a dab is. Here's the thing. In my school, what we're doing is something called restorative justice, right? The kids have had a rough go. We don't want to punish them. We don't want to involve the cops if it's not serious, right? You can talk smack, just don't cook it. And I'm behind restorative justice. Like if I'm going to get through this school year, it's going to take a lot of confiscated THC. Yeah, me and Mrs. Jenkins. It's just, I don't think we cover her glaucoma is what I'm getting at. But when we were sitting in this meeting, they were telling us, they were like, you guys got to be on the lookout. These kids are doing challenges, right? They're challenging each other to see how many times they can get out of class, go to the bathroom and do a dab. I went to Catholic school. We had challenges. Like I would sneak a turkey hoagie into Sister Doreen's class, take a few hits when she wasn't looking, or like on half days. How many plates of food could I take down at the Golden Corral buffet? The answer is 13, in case you're wondering. But like I had a moment of clarity in the meeting because it was kind of like, these kids have had a rough go, right? They've just been filling their void with pot. And I've been filling my void with brisket. And I'll be honest, I realized we have even more in common because they're both amazing smoked, But here's the problem. Besides the drugs and all of that, the technology, guys, it's getting out of hand. We're here on Zoom, YouTube. That's wonderful. But like these kids have the right answer in the palm of their hand. You know what I remember? The one giant computer in the back of the room that operated on actual floppy disks. And what was the highlight of our elementary school career? Playing Oregon Trail. That's right, trying not to get dysentery before lunch. But these kids, they can learn on TikTok in 60 seconds things like Megan's knees. I would demonstrate, but it would take my knees 6.5 minutes. Yeah, they're coming in at like AOL dial-up speeds. The arthritis is like, shh. Welcome, you've got frail. But in my school, we have a no cell phone policy because the kids all have laptops. But what I started noticing is they would start resting their cell phone on the inside of their Chromebook. Yeah, I caught a kid dead to rights the other day in class, went full teacher voice. Jimmy, I see what you're doing. Put it away right now or it's mine. This kid looked at me and he was like, Mr. Yoder, I've been playing this game all morning long. I'm about to get the high score. Can I please just finish the game? If I just thought half of what he said out loud, Sister Doreen would have levitated me out of that classroom like she was Darth effing Vader. Welcome to 2023, guys. Now, thankfully, he complied. He put it away. I wasn't going to fight him in the middle of the class, but there was no way I was going to let him beat my high score in Zombie Crush that day, guys. Not on my watch. So, well, I've been Jay Yoder. You guys have been amazing. Thanks, Michaela.
Thanks, Jay. Jay, the youth of America is in good hands. I know it. And I can't stop imagining Sister Doreen and Mrs. Jenkins smoking a doobie at Woodstock because they were there. They were there. Your next comment coming to the screen. I haven't seen her in a while. I'm so happy to have her on the show. You're in for a treat all the way from Washington, D.C. This is Yelena Kulik.
In Russian, there is no word for fun. The closest word is joy. And that was a problem for me when I was young. Because on the first date, if the guy asked me, what do you want to do tonight? I could just say, let's have fun. I have to say, let's have joy. And I was not ready to have joy on the first date. I get called a lot. And my friends here asking me, you're Russian. What did you do in Russia during winter? And I said, what do you mean? I do what we always do in Russia. Suffer. So my friends during pandemic were complaining. Oh, I don't like perfumes. The shelves are empty. Do I have to stand in this long line? There is no toilet paper. And I said to them, and they're like, who lives like this? And I said, I'll tell you, Russians. I have kids, and I noticed that a lot of their friends are taking Ritalin to help them to stay focused. Well, in Russia, they have a holistic approach to this problem. It's called fear. everything in Russia is harder than here. I used to be elementary school teacher. Yeah, and they work 6 days a week. I mean, here you only have 5 days of work week. Your entire summer is off. You get paid vacations. The only thing you have to worry about is, one of your students shooting you. On January 6th, I saw on television this guy I know from the gym climbing up the wall. I thought, wow, his gym membership really paid off. So I was in Russia during that brief time when we thought our country will become a democracy. People ask me, is that because Gorbachev was there? And I said, no, Ronald McDonald. In Russia, we had universal mental care. Only we didn't call it therapy. We called it cigarettes and vodka. My dad used to smoke these unfiltered cigarettes. And I said, Dad, aren't you worried what it's doing to you? He's like, no, I'm not afraid of cancer. I'm not afraid of radiation. I'm not afraid of communism. Nothing could break me except your mother. Putin is saying that Ukraine started the war. After you start the war with the country and actually never go to this country, I mean, it's supposed to believe right now that Zelensky said, I now declare the war with Russia, and we're going to fight that war here at home where I live. Putin is running out of troops. He's emptying up prisons and hiring mercenaries to fight in this war. If I was a Girl Scout in Russia right now, I'd be getting nervous. I have a sister who lives here in US, and she's so gullible. I mean, she told me that she met Brad Pitt online and they became friends. And he's now asking her to donate $40,000 into his favorite charity for homeless. And I said to her, are you crazy? This is not a Brad Pitt. This is some romance scammer. And a couple of weeks later, she said, you know what? You were right. It wasn't a Brad Pitt. And I said, what made you change your mind? And she said, well, another friend of mine also told me exactly the same thing. And I said, who is that? Denzel Washington. We recently celebrate my sister's birthday. Yeah. I don't like to celebrate my birthdays anymore because anything more than 18 candles on the cake does not look festive to me. It looks like forest fire. Thank you so much. I love you.
Yelena Kulik. That's why I'm done with the cakes. I just go meatball subs on my birthday. Meatball subs always. Your next comic coming to the screen. We're so happy to have her on the show from the San Francisco Bay Area. She is an actor, a writer, and she teaches piano to adult learners in person and online. So happy to see her back. This is Jane Stone.
Greetings. I'm so glad you're here. Come on in. Recently, I had an unbelievably big birthday. I mean, the candles on the cake were like a wildfire. In fact, when I was trying to blow out the candles, I was allowed to have 2 wishes. Too bad I wasted one on the smoke detector. Well, I've noticed as I get older, I see things differently. For instance, a younger friend got a pedicure, and she chose pale yellow nail polish because to her, that color looked like buttercream. To me, it looked like toenail fungus. And I want different things now. Like when I traveled, I used to love it when my hotel room had a chocolate bonbon on the pillow. Now I'm hoping for a Tums. Actually, there's been some very bad news about bonbons recently. They contain lead and cadmium. So I'm being careful now. I only eat them when I'm having a tuna mercury sandwich. My recent cataract surgery changed my life, starting moments before the operation when the eye surgeon wrote her initials in big block letters above my eyebrow. I guess to remind herself to work on my eye, not my appendix. Anyway, after the surgery, I asked, "Can I remove your initials now?" And she said, "No, I use permanent marker. It will fade gradually over time." It's been 3 weeks. Did she mean geologic time? Meanwhile, I'm walking around with some gang symbol on my forehead. I know this because some strangers have given me a signal. Well, after the surgery, I needed to buy a pirate's eye patch. So I read the reviews on Amazon. One of the reviewers said, "I really wanted to love this eye patch, but the strap broke." Boy, if you're hoping to fall in love with an eye patch, maybe vision isn't your most serious problem. Well, hundreds of reviews later, I bought an eye patch. And I can tell you, wearing a pirate patch over one eye and a gang symbol on my forehead, suddenly my gold fillings became a fashion statement. People were social distancing without my asking. I had a hankering to adopt a parrot. And suddenly, getting a peg leg didn't even seem like such a bad idea. Well, it's hard being an old pirate these days because of all the emergencies that are happening. So I installed several kinds of emergency alert apps on my mobile phone. One of them is called My Shake. And no, I'm not talking about Metamucil. My Shake is supposed to provide advanced warning that an earthquake is about to happen in 2 or 3 seconds. So a few weeks after I put that app on my phone, I heard a sudden, loud, alerting sound, and I figured this could be the big one. Thank God I'd had 2 or 3 seconds to prepare. So I dash across the living room and I dove under the dining table, and I'm cowering under there, under the table, clutching my phone, about to call my son to tell him I love him, when I read the alert message. Silver alert. Wandering elder reported missing. How disappointing. So then there's one elder wandering and another elder struggling to get up from under the table. But here I am. Thank you so much for coming by, and take good care of each other, sweethearts.
Thanks, Pirate Jane. That was great. And I will always hold the visual of you underneath a table with an eye patch and a fake parrot. That's what I'm imagining. Awesome job, Jane. Your next comic coming to the screen, you know, he told me I could say it, so I'll tell you. He looks like my cousin. And my cousin's cool because he's the only man in our family to break 5'5". And I think Andrew's even taller than that. So please give it up all the way from South Dakota for the very funny Andrew Bork.
Thank you, Michaela. There's a lot of problems facing the world. Climate change, nuclear holocaust, my kids. I now understand why evolution takes so long. When you have kids and you have to get up 8 times a night, you don't have time to evolve. I had to get one of my kids tested for allergies. When the results came back, the doctor said he's allergic to dog food. He said, you got to get your kid to stop eating dog food. I'm like, well, you're going to have to talk to him. My kid does this thing where he says no like 15 times. I told him, buddy, you don't need to say it 15 times. You just need to say it once. 5 minutes later, he's sticking his hand in the toilet and I go, no, 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 no. When I hear people call something gross now, I'm like, on a scale of 1 to kids, how gross is it really? Whoever came up with don't negotiate with terrorists must not have had kids. Negotiating is what keeps everybody alive. Buddy, I promise if you don't jump from the deck, I will let you eat dog food. Sometimes I get a little jealous. How come when I go potty, I don't get candy? It's important to me to see myself the way that my children see me. So I asked my 4-year-old to describe me. And he said, you're a dirty hamster butt popsicle. We don't even have a hamster. Nothing prepares you for what you have to Google as a parent. Here's what I've Googled this week. How to tell if your baby ate Prozac. What to do when your baby gets poop in his eye. What to do when your baby gets poop in your eye. How long can kids cry before they become dehydrated? How much dirty bathwater can kids drink without getting sick? Before I had kids, I used to judge parents all the time. I'd see kids misbehaving and say things like, look at how awful that kid is. What a spoiled brat. And after kids, I see that and think, oh, thank God, our kid isn't the only one that eats dog food and feeds the dog Pepto-Bismol. I think people are more tense now than they used to be. Like when I wanted to knock things down, I used to go bowling, but now people are throwing axes and they're going to smash rooms. My wife and I actually went to a smash room and we're in this room breaking things and it's great. And we get a ceramic Santa Claus and it won't break. We hit it with a baseball bat and a crowbar. We threw it against the wall, wouldn't break. So we took it home and gave it to our kids. 10 minutes later, broken. If Jesus was from the Midwest, the Easter story would be different. He would have stuck his head out Easter morning and been like, what? It's April and it's snowing? It's freezing out there. I'm not ascending in this. I'm staying here. And put the rock back. You're letting all the cold air in. If Jesus was from the Midwest, at that wedding, people wouldn't have been like, hey, can you turn that water into wine? They'd have said, can you turn half that water into Bud Light and the other half into bug spray? My name is Andrew Bork. Thank you so much.
Andrew Bork. All I could think about that Santa Claus was it was simply reinforced with the magic of Christmas, and that's why it was unbreakable. But apparently doesn't work on your kids. What a shame. What a shame. Your next comic coming to the screen is making her stand-up comedy debut. So a lot of love. You're gonna love her. All the way from also the San Francisco Bay Area. This is Meredith Schneider.
Thanks, Michaela. Andrew, great job. I can relate to a lot of those kid experiences. So I was in the Army for 4 years, and I learned a lot of really valuable life skills. Like before the Army, I didn't know how to put mascara on in sub-zero temperatures and under fire. And I also learned how to pee without triggering landmines. It was quite an adjustment when I got out of the Army. And I did what everyone else did. I would go to Starbucks, and at the end, I would leave a tip for the barista, or I'd take an Uber across town and I'd tip the driver. And when people find out that I was in the Army, I often hear, "Thank you for your service," but there's no tip. Like, where's my tip? So I was talking with my friend Natalie about how it's different now that I'm out of the Army. And I was telling her how I would get sniped at, and it was really scary, and I didn't know where it was coming from. And she would say, "That must have been really hard for you when you were in the Army." And I would say, "No, that was at work. That never happened to me in the Army." And I would carry a backpack, that's like about 20 pounds. And Natalie would say, "Oh, that was in the Army." And I'd be like, "Yeah, that was in the Army." But now I carry BPA-free water bottle, Luna bars, organic yogurt, iMac, iPhone, chargers, wallet, keys, and that backpack is like 40 pounds. So, and then I get sent to all of these godforsaken places without any warning. They just tell you to go. And now they said, "Oh, yeah, I remember when you were sent to Bosnia." Bosnia? No, Bosnia is super interesting. This is here. Work sent me to Omaha, Nebraska. So often my friends will ask me how my kids are doing, because I have 2 kids, ages 18 and 16. But they won't ask me how I'm doing. And I really feel bad for them because they're missing out on some amazing information. Like, did you know the best day to go to Costco to get out of the parking lot the fastest is Friday night? Oh, also, I found the best orthodontist. He serves cookies. Dr. Young serves cookies in his waiting room, chocolate chip and oatmeal. So these days, I often hear couples saying, "We are pregnant." And this gets me super pissed at my ex-husband because he had me thinking that I had to do the whole thing. I mean, I went to all the ultrasound appointments. I mean, I would have, why did I put on all the weight when he could have put on the weight? But I'm really excited about the progress that's been, taking place these days. And I look forward to the day when men can do the whole darn thing. And then I will say, "We are pregnant." So when my kids were in middle school, they took the public bus to school and back. And my son had a friend whose parents wouldn't allow him to go on the bus. Those parents were afraid that their son would get kidnapped on the public bus. And I wish I could have reassured them. No one wanted that kid. As a matter of fact, if the kidnappers were driving the bus, they wouldn't even pick that kid up. So my son took the SAT the other day, and when he came home, he was pretty upset. And he said to me, "Mom, you should have driven me to the SAT and waited outside, paced back and forth. And then when I was done, film me when I came out." And I was like, who does that? And he said, all the Asian parents. So I've been reading about these families in developing nations and they have 10 to 15 kids and to prepare for their financial future. And I think this is pretty sound because if you have 12 kids, you'll have 2 there to take care of you when you're older. I only have 2 kids, and I'm thinking this might have been a mistake because my daughter's studying, she's already in another country studying overseas, and my son's pissed at me for not filming him coming out of the SAT. I think I might end up on an iceberg somewhere. So sometimes I think the rest of the world has really got things figured out. Like everyone else, they use the metric system. The metric system is way better than what we use. They call soccer football, makes a lot more sense than football that we call here, which is a game passed when you pass by hand. And, electing a comedian to run a country, that makes way more sense. I'm really excited about this new law we have here in California. It bans the sale of new gas-powered vehicles in 2035. And I think it's going to make it so much healthier for us all to live here. Because when we're all relying on the power company to power the new electric vehicles, we're all going to be doing a lot more walking. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks, Meredith. That was her stand-up comedy debut. And I have to now show you a picture of my orthodontist because it's this is Dr. Darling. Isn't he beautiful? I thought all those people only had moms in the waiting room, but it turns out that's just who came to the appointments. Anyway, great job, Meredith. Thanks for being on the show. Your next comic coming to the screen is performing from Richmond, Virginia. We're so glad to have him. I'm going to have him unmute and get ready for the comic stylings of the very funny Mike Marr.
Hey, good evening, folks. Thanks for coming out. I appreciate it. Hey, listen, last week at a dinner party, folks told my wife, I've got that Einstein vibe. I brought it up to my wife afterwards, and she agreed that in the bedroom, I remind her of Einstein because I come at the speed of light. I suggested to my wife that she call me Einstein as a nickname, but she said she'll just stick with nappy-headed bitch. I got married when I was 34, and it completely changed everything about me. I mean, look at me. I'm 36 now. I came home last night feeling very sexy. I took a shower and walked into the bedroom naked, and my wife pointed and said, you ought to put that little bit in your act. My wife puzzles me. I do all the maintenance around the house. If anything breaks, I'm the one who tries to fix it. I periodically check my equipment to make sure everything is operational. And she calls it jerking off. I worked as a public servant for 20 years, and I transitioned very smoothly into retirement. I mean, now with all my naps, my days are basically the same. So apparently I heard my neighbors were really shocked when they saw me sleepwalking down the street at night, naked. I guess they just don't understand. Some people have hobbies. I know some of the things I do are weird to young people. They think it's ridiculously old-fashioned, but I don't care. I have a hero that I look up to for the way I live my life. And my feeling is, if it's good enough for Fred Flintstone, it's good enough for me. Yeah. Oh no, wait a minute. I'm having a senior moment here. Just a second. I'll try to land this plane, but at the moment we're experiencing some extreme turbulence. Please fasten your seatbelts. Looks like we're in a nosedive. Put your seats in an upright position. Oh, wait, we're leveling off. We're leveling off. I just remembered. I'm back. I'm back, baby. So speaking of Alzheimer's, I read that researchers found that it's caused by a bacteria that forms in the mouth. And that worries me. I mean, I've had a lifetime of eating crap on a day-to-day basis, eating my boss's crap. And Alzheimer's is a way of saying, fuck you, boss, and fuck my memories of you. Yeah. So I know this isn't good, but I had my first physical at the after 15 years. I went because I was concerned about my prostate. So I'm here now, and my pants are around my ankles, my elbows on the table, and the nurse comes in. Mr. Marr, not in the waiting room. Oh, right. I remember now. So now I'm in the exam room and I see my doctor putting on his latex glove. And I said to him, are you using that like a finger puppet? Or is that a whole hand puppet? No, it's just a finger. Oh, okay. But shouldn't we have a dinner and drink first? He just went ahead and did it. I mean, this younger generation, where has all the romance gone? Thank you very much. My name is Mike Marr. I appreciate it.
Mike Marr. Mike, I don't know how I didn't just think you looked like Albert Einstein until you said it, but you are right. Yeah, that's good. And it's interesting your hero is Fred Flintstone. That's the only man who's been able to, in any way, define Einstein's physics principles. He's the only one. The only one. We have one more comedian tonight, and you are going to love him all the way from the Upper West Side in New York City. This is the very funny Sandy Retsky. Oh, you're on mute, Sandy. That magical mute button. And we're in business. Sandy Retsky.
Welcome to the city that never sleeps. That explains so much about us, like our depression, high blood pressure, poor sexual performance. And that's a good thing because they distract us from how much we pay to live here. I love the city, but it's not perfect. Times Square is a triumph. Where are the gas stations? My apartment lease says no animals, but what about the roaches and rats? Speaking of roaches and rats, why do lawyers call themselves attorney at law? I never heard a therapist call himself psychiatrist at crazy, or a CPA call himself accountant at stealing. I got shocking news. My lawyer was barred from the Bar Association. He's the only lawyer in New York State guilty of insider trading who lost money on the trade. In addition to being a lawyer, he told me he's a talented artist. And it's true. He's a bullshit artist, a ripoff artist, and a con artist. Hurricanes are causing more and more devastating damage. But we're still giving them names like Ida, Fiona, Ian. Please, please give them appropriate names. Hurricane Gambino murdered 100 people. Hurricane El Chapo wiped out San Juan. I invest in funeral homes. Everybody dies. At an investor meeting, I made a suggestion to build the business. Let's offer free matchmaking services for all widows. We can call it His Time Is Up. Your time is now. I noticed sometimes women lose interest in having sex with me. And I think I figured out why. I don't do what they really want me to do. Housewife. I now bring double-sided sponges on all first dates. Some people want a building or street named after them. I'd prefer to have a mattress named after me. Women all over the world will say, I can't wait to go to bed on top of my Sandy. I've had some very impressive girlfriends. My ex-girlfriend, Emily, incredible multitasker. She could make a to-do list, file her fingernails, shop online for groceries, all while I was having sex with her. She'd get so loud, I had to close the windows and doors. Oh God, oh God, oh God, Macy's is having a sale. Emily and I fought a lot. We could never agree where to eat. One night, she wanted General Chow's chicken. I wanted chicken Florentine. She quoted Confucius. I quoted Pope Pius II. She bragged the Great Wall of China. I bragged the Colosseum. We got so riled up, we got completely confused and ordered British. Thank you very much for coming out tonight.
Sandy Redsky. Sandy just promised me if you go into the mattress business, you call yourself the Sandman. It's the only thing that makes sense. That was our show, everyone. Thank you all so much for watching. Thanks for supporting the American Comedy Institute. Like I said, we have a lot of exciting things coming up, so keep an eye on our website, comedyinstitute.com. Our workshops are online right now, and our shows are online and in person. We have our show at Gotham Comedy Club on April 21st. We hope you can come out and see us. Thank you all